Hello and welcome to Roasting the World, where we offer an adversarial perspective on today's cultural issues. We do it for the intelligent culture. I'm your host, Keenan Robinson, and we have a special guest today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paris Lee.
All right, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
All right, so our topic today to be roasted is good hair. Now, let me just put a disclaimer out here first. My personal belief is that all hair is good hair. Because you walk around here bald headed, you want some hair. So let me give you a little background on why I thought that this was an important topic for our culture to talk about. Is because as I grew up, I'm full African American black. My family's from the West Indies. I got a little bit of Native American in there. So as I grew up, people was like, "Oh, you look like you from south of the border," or you got that ooh wee, or juices and berries, or girls want to, can I touch your hair? Or I've had girls actually say, "I want to have a baby with you," so that their kid could have the texture of hair.
Oh, wow.
Right, and it's like I think it's like the F buoyancy or whatever that I don't know, but somebody talked to me about it before. But anyway, so in our culture, I hear people saying things like somebody has nappy hair or coarse hair,
Right.
or a lot of our well, I don't want to kind of dig into that, but a lot of people want to change the way that their hair looks. They wear a lot of weave. So I'm just kind of wanted to talk kind of through that topic because it is
Okay.
it's very touchy.
It is. It
Right.
is. And has always been.
Absolutely.
I will say that. But I guess I can share a little bit about, my hair journey.
Okay.
I grew up with relaxers, getting relaxers, all the way up until I think I had my last relaxer when I was maybe 27.
Okay.
But all through, school, growing up, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I saw some girls that had natural hair growing up.
Right.
But, I saw a lot of like braids and extensions and weaves, different things of that nature.
Right.
So had relaxed hair. But I always wanted an afro. I did growing
Right.
up
Right.
and I would ask my mom like, how do I get one? Because I would see my mom's pictures when she was growing up.
Right.
When she was maybe like 15, through 17, and she had this, huge
Right.
afro, beautiful.
Right.
Especially with her skin tone and everything. I was like, I want an afro.
Right.
But
right.
I didn't realize that with relaxed hair, that wasn't going to work.
Right.
So going back to the hair journey part, I was around 26, 27. And I did not, and I'm natural, of course, I have a protective style in right now. But I didn't intend to go natural at first.
Okay.
I started getting braids, and I just kept getting them for maybe about 10 or 11 months.
Okay.
And then by that time, I was like, well, I'm just going to keep going. So the journey, continued. Being in the house, it was my mother, my father, my sister, and I. So 3 women in the house growing up.
Right.
But we all had different hair textures.
Okay.
My mom's hair was, long but coarse.
Mm-hmm.
My hair, is soft textured. I kind of took after my father's genes with that. My sister's hair is very long, very straight naturally, even without a relaxer.
Right.
So I remember there being times where my mom would be doing all of our hair, like say getting ready for Easter or church, and all of our hair was different. We were all,
Right.
related under the same roof, but we all had to, I guess, take some different strategies when it came down to hair care.
Right.
So I growing up, I always wondered why there was such an issue and why black hair is such a conversation.
Right.
You know, because in my opinion, we should be able to wear our hair however we want to
How it
wear it.
naturally grows out of
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah, how it naturally grows out of my head. And I, had a conversation with my sister about it before. She's natural now.
Mm-hmm.
But this was before she was natural, going through the process. And I said, "Do you notice that we are the only, group of people where it's a conversation?"
Right. And my thing is, I had a big old afro before, and I kept getting pulled over. I mean,
Really?
kept getting harassed by the police. And then I could not get a job. Like, I would go to job interviews, I would try to slick it back. I would do all kinds of stuff, and they was like, nope, we're not hiring today. Right?
Oh, wow.
I cut my hair, got a job immediately. So that kind of discouraged me from growing my hair out. And it took a boss of mine that said, hey, if someone doesn't hire you because of your hair, then you may not need to be there. And on the other side of that, I had a boss also say, different guy, say, hey, you got to play the game. And if this is what they require, you got to fit the mold until you get where you want to get.
Right.
So I do understand that. But that's just for us. When you see other people of other cultures, their hair, however it grows out of their head, they can wear it that way. One thing that kind of bothers me, just being in relationships with black women, is, and this is not for all, but for some, like, you can't, like, touch their hair. You can't, like, I want to touch my woman. I want to be able to, play in your hair, touch her, throw some water on you without getting, yelled at and different things like that. And it seems like it's a problem.
Right.
And I remember back in the day, they said Madam C.J. Walker made the perms and that kind of stuff because there was a problem with the other side of the color barrier, saying that what was acceptable and not acceptable, and what was beautiful and what was not beautiful. And I think that we're still have some remnants of that in our culture, and that may be why a lot of people want to change. But I will say this: a lot of men cut their hair low, and they just leave it like that, and that's just what it is. It's safe, and they just go, right?
Right.
Women who who normally grow their hair out just culturally, they have more of the issues because they're the ones that have to do all the stuff to their hair. Well, we could just cut it and go. So kind of, if you want to jump in on that topic a little bit concerning why some have to cut, some don't, why some people choose to, wear the wigs or to wear the weave and just, keep it that way versus, like, I see now a big push for people to be more natural, people to grow their hair out how it is, and how that affects our psyche of not being able to be our natural selves, and how we have to code switch and change and be like someone wants us to be versus being able to be who we are.
Oh yeah. So I definitely agree with the points that you're making, but just as a woman, and especially as a black woman, weaves, extensions, although they may be quite expensive, they can be expensive. It's convenient.
Okay.
What happens is you get the hair in, it lasts for sometimes up to a few months.
That's
And you can say, if you're a busy woman,
right,
and you're always on the go, you can get up and you can go.
But other cultures who have hair, they you know what I'm
But
saying?
let's tell the truth and shame the devil on this one.
All right.
When you are natural, let's talk about what they call the transitioning phase.
Okay.
The transitioning phase is when, for example, if your hair is relaxed, your hair is transitioning from being in that relaxed state to going into the natural state. And that takes some time. And some call it an ugly phase. I don't like to call it the ugly phase because, it's not an easy process, but it's just like how you have a caterpillar that goes through the cocoon and then comes out. It's like a process kind of like that.
Okay.
So you have ends that are breaking. You have two textures going on in a sense that your roots look one way, your ends look another way. And then you have some that, decide to get the big chop. You get the big chop, your hair just grows back naturally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they cut all of the stuff out.
Yeah, they cut all of the relaxed hair out, and the hair, it just grows from the roots.
Okay.
So when you have natural hair and you're maintaining it, it's really a process in finding what works well for you.
Right.
And your hair texture. And it's not always easy. You can do a twist out. You can do, many different styles. Wake up the next morning. It does not turn out that way. You expect it. So it's a lot of, it takes patience.
Right.
I know myself, and I know a lot of women going through the transitioning phase where they were like, you know what? I'm just going to get a relaxer because it's easier, not better.
It's easier than wearing your hair how it grows out of your head?
It's not a process of, it's not how it grows out of your head that makes it easy. Okay. It's the maintenance part. The maintenance.
So what was different in the 60s, 70s, or whenever, 80s when women had like Shaka Khan? Mm-hmm. She was cold with the big fro. Women were walking around looking spectacular with their own stuff.
But what I think too, Keenan, is that with our generation, it's maybe a little bit different. Whereas Shaka Khan, like my mother, they grew up and wore their hair natural, and then at a certain point started getting relaxers. Our generation started out with relaxers.
So they never have had that natural phase, and now it's trying to come in.
Trying to come back and get used to.
And there are health situations that come with like perms and stuff like that are negatively affecting people that get them also.
Right.
From what I understand. And that's one of the things that made people, like even when you're like pregnant or having a baby, you can't get perms, right? From what I understand.
Well, that lye, or it's called lye. Right. It's a very harsh chemical, and there's even been studies done on the deceased where they were able to tell where that chemical had even gone through their scalp into their skull. It's very strong.
And people still want to do this?
It's the look.
The look. So people are dying for beauty.
You would be surprised.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, let's kind of pivot just a little bit.
Okay.
And let's talk about the word nappy.
Okay.
I don't know where this word came from. I don't know why people say someone has nappy hair. I don't know. I don't like the term. I think it's derogatory. But I digress. That's not something that I'm able to control. But what do you know about this word?
This word nappy.
Yes.
I think we have an idea of where that word came from.
Give me some.
Just like another word that we know.
Okay. The N word is nappy and the other word. Okay.
I don't think that we as black people created that word and referred to our hair as that way. I think that came from another group.
Okay.
Just like that other word came from another
group. But we
group.
just took it
but
and made it
our own. But we took it just like, and made it our own.
Right.
And we just use the word to we embrace the term in a sense.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that word is also associated to, I don't hear nappy a lot. When I hear nappy, it's usually from a certain generation of people.
Okay, like older
generation.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
I heard there was a song, nappy her gold teeth. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. But, I just look at it. It has a negative connotation to me.
It does.
And then like I started my dreads. It's been like a year, so I'm locked now. So kind of it still come down sometimes, but I see a lot of people going into locks. I see a lot of people doing braids, or just doing something different. But I just want to change the narrative that we have to change something about ourselves in order to exist.
Yeah, it's sad, and we didn't create that.
Right.
I
Right.
will say that. And I remember, growing up, my mom, would see on TV, like especially maybe like in the 2000s when cornrows were coming back. Like
Right.
Alicia Keys
Mm-hmm.
was wearing the cornrows with the beads, and
Right.
I remember my mom saying, "Wow, like." That's really good to see it coming back around.
Right.
And she talked about how she remembered a time where they couldn't wear their hair braided to school or to a
Really?
job.
Wow. Okay.
They wouldn't hire you if your hair was
Why?
braided because in
It seemed
corporate America,
unprofessional.
yeah, it's deemed as unprofessional in corporate America at that time. So you saw a lot of women that were working was black women.
So anything that we do is considered unprofessional.
Well, what is natural to us until
Right.
they want to get down with it.
And then it's cool.
Just like you see a lot of, Caucasians, they have locks. They pay
Right.
lots of money
Right.
to get their hair that way
Right.
because it doesn't naturally
Right. Right.
grow
That's
that
true.
way.
That is true. Um, So do you think that was used as a discriminatory tactic in order to not we're not going to hire them because they're not professional. They don't look like us. Mm-hmm. They don't look like the way that we want them to. But I see a lot of people of color,
right,
that have that same thought process.
Mm-hmm.
That's
true.
That say, hey, if you look this way, and I'm not talking about having on a shirt and tie or be well dressed. I'm just saying how your hair is groomed. Then they won't hire you. They won't let you work there. They think that you're unkempt or unkept because of a certain way that you look. And it makes you self-conscious
right,
of who you are, because some people identify their individuality based on the way that they have their hair. Some people wear green, blue, purple. There's trends now where people do different things like that. But it is kind of sad that we're the only group that's that marginalized in everything we do. First they look, not they, but even us, look at skin color, look at, how you wear your hair, how you talk, the texture of your hair, all of those things. So, I think honestly that all hair is good hair. I feel like, we should be able to grow things how they naturally are and be okay with it. But we're not, so I just wanted to bring this topic up because I just have heard so many different things in my life concerning hair, and it's always an issue. And I just don't want it to be.
right.
You know what I mean? I want it to not to be such a non-factor. As long as you're not coming there looking crazy, But if you got, your hair is done in a normal fashion for who you are in your culture, you shouldn't have to put harsh chemicals that can kill you or harm your unborn child or seep into your brain in order to, live and survive.
Well, I see it this way: your hair is your crown,
Right.
and you must protect your crown.
Right.
And you can't allow someone to dictate the jewels on your crown and how it's shaped and how it should be. And I remember a friend of mine was telling me how, as black people, our hair defies gravity.
Right, because it grows.
It grows up, it grows out.
Right.
It's different, and hair carries energy.
Right.
And I think that's power.
It is power, like Samson. That's one of the reasons why I got locks, is because in the Bible, Samson had 7 locks and he was powerful. Then I also read that Native Americans, when they did tests on them for like army tactic stuff, when they had hair, they could tell when somebody's sneaking up on them. They could sense more things. But when they cut all their hair off, they couldn't sense things.
Right.
So maybe that may go back to military In war tactics, that these are your antennas. These are things that help you feel things and know what's going on. So let's cut that off because we know, but they don't know.
That's a
Wow.
very good point. Wow,
Wow.
I didn't think of it that way.
Well, let's because I don't need no problems. So, but the information is out there now. It's important.
Hmm.
What I would like to do is at the end of our segments we have what's called roast or toast,
Okay.
and when you earn roasting time, when you don't agree with something, you want to throw it out. We don't need to burn it up. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Or toasting something is something that we need to discuss as a community.
Hmm.
So for the topic of good hair, would you like to roast or toast it?
I'd like to toast it.
Toasted. That's good. So you have 1 minute of time to talk to the audience, our followers, subscribers, and commenters, and tell them why it is important to discuss hair in our community.
It's important to discuss hair in our communities because, just as Keenan said, our hair is good hair. There's no bad hair. But it's about the different textures and styles being embraced and accepted the way it's supposed to be
Right.
naturally. So we have to continue this conversation. We have to raise our children to understand that their hair is beautiful and who they are is beautiful. So we have to keep this conversation going and we have to stop accepting that our hair is not cool until it's cool. So we
Right.
cannot allow someone else to dictate to us what's acceptable and what's right. And we have to keep continuing to talk about this until our children, until we, our brethren, are able to go to work and go wherever they need to go without being discriminated against or stereotyped based on their hair type.
Absolutely. That's perfect. I look. I don't have to add nothing to that. So until next time, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, and tune in for another exciting episode of Roasting the World. Remember to comment, like, leave would subscribe. All of that good stuff that you need to do. Share it on your page, on your IG, your Snap, whatever it is that you use, Facebook, and have a blessed day. And I want to thank you again for being a special guest. This is a topic that I know a lot of people are interested in. So I'm glad that we were able to discuss it and can I kind of go through some things that are it's a difficult conversation.
It is.
So
Indeed.
again, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Peace.